Normally, I do not comment on what's going on in the presidential election. I will take an exception today. This is not conservatism. What was proposed yesterday is not what this party stands for, and more importantly, it's not what this country stands for. Some of our best and biggest allies in this struggle and fight against radical Islamic terror are Muslims, the vast, 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 vast majority of whom are peaceful, who believe in pluralism, freedom, democracy, individual rights.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back. Now, it should be pointed out, and again, I'm just going to give you facts here, and I'm going to make a case here. Donald Trump was not saying we deport Muslims who are here. He was giving statistics from polls that we pointed out in the previous segment from Muslims that are here, and that's disturbing enough. But if you look at polls for Muslims around the world and how they feel about Sharia and how they feel about using violence as a means to get what they're looking for, or to punish someone who violates Islam or whatever, the numbers are 60, 70% in some countries, 80% in some countries, 90% in some countries. Those are the people Donald Trump is talking about, because he's not talking about kicking Americans out, which is what Ryan was referencing. He's talking about bringing new ones in. Joining us now is Tom Tancredo, former congressman from the great state of Colorado and former U.S. presidential candidate, and Christopher Hahn, Democratic strategist and syndicated radio host. All right, Congressman, where are you on this? You agree with Paul Ryan?
No, I don't, and you're right. He was referencing something that Donald Trump was not talking about. But indeed, what Trump did talk about is something I totally agree with and have written several columns, as a matter of fact, supporting. That is the idea that we have to stop Muslim immigration into this country. You have to recognize that we have no sieve. We've never been able to perfect one that can adequately keep people who are coming into this country for nefarious purposes out. Haven't been able to do it. The other thing is, when you talk about, can you do this? Is it okay to stop to actually have this kind of prohibition against a religion? The answer is yes. And the reason is because we have had all kinds of restrictions over the course of our history in terms of who can come into this country and for what purpose. And Islam is not just a religion, remember. It is an ideology, a political ideology. And we have restricted political ideology on many, many occasions.
Right. Yeah. And I talked to someone whose name everybody would know, who I respect more than anybody when it comes to the Constitution. And where is it, Christopher? Where would it be unconstitutional? Where's the constitutional right that Muslims or anybody has to come into this country?
Well, what the congressman was proposing was basically what the Alien and Sedition Acts proposed back in the 18th century. I think it's completely un-American what he just said. I think it's un-American what Donald Trump said last night. I'm heartened by what Paul Ryan said and what other Republicans are saying around the country today in response to what was said last night. Look, those who sacrificed liberty for security deserve neither. And there are people who are trying to escape tyranny around the world, and they come to America because it's the last beacon of hope and opportunity for all people around the globe. And to propose a religious test, in my opinion, is un-American. It is, to quote Alexander Hamilton, despicable. And I think that the congressman should really think about what he just said and view it in the light of our long history in this country, where we've gotten things wrong in the past, and try to weigh it against that. I think that you would think differently, Congressman.
Congressman, go ahead.
I think that in America.
Go ahead, Congressman.
I thought about it long and hard before this conversation, and I will tell you, if you want to talk to somebody about restricting people because of religion, go talk to your president. Go talk to President Obama, who is restricting the Christians from being able to come into this country.
Let him finish. Let Christopher, let him finish.
To do it. He is the one restricting people on religion. I'm telling you, Islam is not just a religion. It's a political ideology.
Okay.
And we have every right to restrict.
Go ahead, Christopher. Go ahead, Christopher.
What the congressman just said, what the congressman just yelled at me is absence of any fact or basis in reality. The president has not restricted travel from Christians from foreign countries to this country. That is a xenophobic, made-up thing that he probably read on Breitbart.com. It is not something you got from a briefing when you were once a congressman. It is not. It is not
Christopher,
true.
Christopher, go ahead, Congressman. Where do you get that information from?
Listen. We are actually even deporting those few who have gotten into this country, Christians. We are not allowed refugees into this country from Iraq.
Christopher, there's less than 1% of those coming in from Syria and Iraq are Christians into this country. So that's the statistics that are out there. But Christopher, I'm curious. When have we faced something like this in the past, where we know that there are, if you read the polls from other countries, again, I'm not talking about United States Muslims. I'm talking about Muslims from around the world, where it's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90%, depending on the country, believe that you could blow people up if they offend the Prophet Muhammad, and they all want Sharia to those numbers. Why would you want them in the country?
You know, traditionally, when people leave their country to come to this country, it's because they are persecuted for their beliefs. And I do believe that the vast majority of people fleeing the Middle East to come here and other parts of the world to come here do want to share in our value
really?
system.
That's not what the polls say, Christopher. That's your opinion. That's your opinion. Congressman, final word. Congressman, final word. Go ahead.
The Hill newspaper, which is not certainly a conservative publication in any respect. Go read what they wrote in January about Christian immigrants being restricted by this president. The Hill.
All right, guys. All right, guys. Good conversation. Christopher Hahn and Congressman Tom Tancredo. Always great to talk to both of you. Up next, we'll weigh in with another former congressman, former majority leader, Tom DeLay. So don't go away. You're watching Newsmax Television.